So what have I missed, man? I've been off the internet.
Oh boy.
I haven't been lurking. I know that you've been on. I've gotten a bunch of emails, a few texts. What's going on in the world, John?
Well, where do you want to start, man?
Well, let's start with we had an election in our state, a lot of elections.
We did.
The red wave did not come, which is
no, it was more like a kind of a red tide that really didn't come in.
So there was the we're going to be political alert. We're getting political. Did the Republicans take the House?
Yes, the Republicans did take the
But
House,
not by a huge
but it's
majority.
only by like maybe 1 or 2 seats.
Oh, that's not good.
And then the Senate right now is 50-49, and the one seat that's still up is Georgia, which was Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. Neither got over 50% of the vote, so they kicked the third place person out, and they do a runoff here in about a month.
Wait, Herschel Walker? What's he running as?
Republican.
Really?
I am amazed
Hell
that you
yeah.
have not seen shit, dude. He is batshit insane.
I love Herschel.
You can see every bit of CTE coming through.
Oh, how dare you, sir? I don't know
Go watch
anything.
some of his
I don't
videos,
know, dude. Herschel Walker. Let me just explain. Herschel Walker's a fucking freak athlete, and I'm 98% sure he was a professional fighter. He fought for Bellator, I believe. He's a martial artist. He's a stud of a human being. Absolute stud. Oh, did you
potentially
do the
might
screen
be a
share?
senator.
Potentially
Might be a senator.
Good for him. What are some of his policies? What does he want to do?
I mean, he's basically just a Trumper. Like nothing exciting. Let's get the screen share going. Here we go.
Nice. I love the screen share.
So, yeah, only state left is Georgia. Wow. And you can see Raphael Warnock had 49.4 and Herschel Walker had 48.5%. But because of the 2% that the Libertarian took, neither got over 50. So now they go to a runoff. And I believe it's like the first week of December is when the runoff election is.
I feel like you're starting to see a lot of libertarians, like low key, man. Like he took 2% of the vote. Good for.
I mean, they've been out there. They've been out there. But
do you think they're coming into play more and more now?
I think they are, but I think not in the way that you think they are. I think they're coming in as just like a slush fund for establishment Republicans to pump in for a spoiler to take votes away.
No, I don't think it works. I feel like the Libertarian Party would be more apt to siphon votes from the Democrat or from the Republicans.
Yeah, but you have to. The Libertarian Party right now is controlled by the Mises Caucus, which is like from an economic perspective, they're Austrian economists, but they are extremely conservative and they're basically like Peter Thiel Republicans. So like they're most of their races, I mean, like they were okay running Gary Johnson's running mate, who was the governor of Massachusetts as a Democrat and had absolutely no policies that would even remotely begin to be libertarian. Yeah, yet weird. He was on the ticket.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That is weird. So anyways.
So the Republicans did not have a red wave. It was really nary even a like rainstorm. The Republicans still kind of like, even if they take, let's say they win Georgia, right? And so then it'll be 50-50 and the Democrats will have the tiebreaker with the vice president. But you have to consider that Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are essentially, they're Democrats, but they essentially vote with the Republicans almost every time. So the Republicans could technically have a 2-vote or 1-vote majority in the Senate. And like the House, I'll have to look up the House. I'm pretty sure the House, they only won by 2 votes or two seats. I'm sorry, 7 seats.
Oh, wow.
So, and there's still a couple races right now that haven't been called. Like there's some in Arizona and some in Nevada. I think Lauren Boebert's district hadn't been called yet because she's actually potentially might lose, which would
really, she's crazy.
Yeah,
I know
she is
her.
absolutely
She's
fucking
super
insane.
crazy.
Right now, she is. There's 99% reporting. She has 50.2%, and her opponent has 49.8%. So she might pull it out, but it's pretty damn close. They might go to a runoff or something. But that was honestly one of the most shocking ones because I dislike her with a burning, seething passion, and 100%. I really hope that she does not get back in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It turned out a little better because now it doesn't really change a whole lot of the situation with the whole country because really 24 is where it's going to come down to. But the Republicans kind of shot themselves in the foot. That was I think historically the worst turnout for a midterm with a president that, what was it? Like the Republicans had something like a really, really small turnout, much less than they thought. And it's the lowest amount while having a sitting president with like a sub 50% approval rating.
Yeah, it's interesting because I heard something about even in the Oregon elections, like it was one of the lowest turnouts ever.
I think my theory is the Republicans did so much to gaslight their own voting bloc that everything is rigged, the whole election's rigged, nothing can do. So then like they shot themselves in the foot. They took so many people out that probably would have voted.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, dude. I've never thought about it like that.
I mean, even like historically, midterm elections are normally always much lower turnout, and especially in states where a senator isn't being elected, that cycle. But you still have, like, generally it is when a sitting president with such a poor approval rating is in, usually that's when at least one of the chambers will like vastly change hands, and then the next party will start setting up their role for the next cycle. But at this rate, the Republicans can't do anything but push to the middle if they want to have any kind of say in what's going on. Yeah,
it's super interesting. I think you're right. I think that's actually a pretty good point that you made with the gaslighting. Oh, the election's rigged. It was stolen. I think that really just pissed a lot of people off, and they're just like, fuck it. What's the point? Like, get real nihilistic about it. And they're like, this isn't real. It doesn't matter. And I'm not going to vote because no one cares. That's a really good point. That probably is what that. Damn, that's so funny.
That's my best guess because like you had like 2016 was one of the highest turnouts ever, at least in the last 25, 30 years. And it was because Trump did so much to re-enfranchise people that were disenfranchised and hadn't voted or never voted. And he did it, but then the Republicans also played along that like there were still people running, who is it? Blake Masters, the creepy school shooter dude, running for Senate that lost in Arizona. He was pushing the election fraud narrative throughout this entire campaign. And so were several other people. All of the hand-picked people that were picked by Trump all lost.
Maybe
which
that has
there's
something to do with it.
There's going to be there's a civil war. I mean, like the United States in general is in like a cold civil war right now, but the Republican Party, it's so funny. My money would have been on, say 5 years ago, that the Democratic Party would have split and become two different things. But at this rate, the Republicans are going to be the ones that do it because you have the kind of more like quote unquote moderate Republicans that are more establishment corporate Republicans that are all against Trump, and they're starting to go for DeSantis. And then you have the Trump people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and all of those people that what DeSantis did in Florida is entirely because of how gerrymandered. I mean, he personally gerrymandered the voting districts in Florida, and he won by 50. He had over 50% of the vote, which historically Florida has been a very purple state. And this time it was not. He won 59.4%. And only about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 districts in Florida voted for, well, also the Republicans or the Democrats ran Charlie Crist against him, which was like awesome. They could have done a corpse and it would probably have been better. But only 4 districts, and most of them are Miami, Orlando, Tallahassee, big cities. But that was a whole thing in our long-going series of me trying to convince you that DeSantis is not a good dude.
We don't know, dude. We're 2 years out.
You got to read that dossier I sent you.
I'm going to. But we're 2 years out. We can't. We're not going to go down the DeSantis train. We're not doing
not today.
It. Absolutely not.
This election is 100% because of what he personally did to the redistricting in Florida. There were so many districts that were written out that were historically majority black districts that had in the past sitting House members that were black that no longer. It is a entirely Republican state.
I have to see this.
Which is wild.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Listen, kudos to the man with the vision that's just fucking sitting there holding on to power. What a bastard.
I mean, that's what I forget where it was. There were a bunch of people in the press pool the night of when they called it for him that were trying to ask him, is like, would you serve a full 4-year term as governor? And
that was good.
He straight up would not answer. And so everybody started chanting 2 more years. Because, you have to be an idiot to not think he's running for president.
I thought that was funny too. When his, it was the person he was debating, who I don't know who that was. That was a good question. Can you tell the people of Florida that you're going to be here for all 4 years? Well, Charlie Crist. It was a good question.